Hello, 7th grade, and welcome back to another online math class that we are going to do again this week. So we're going to have two more new lessons this week, and we're just going to jump in and get right started. So this one is lesson 87, multiplying algebraic terms. Now, if you look at the lesson, it looks a little intimidating, looks a little maybe confusing. Hopefully, we can alleviate a little bit of that right here today, and you feel a lot more confident when you leave this. So we'll go ahead and get right started. We're going to start with example 1, okay? Notice there are 3 sets of parentheses. So I'm going to write them one at a time. The first one is negative 3x squared y. So negative 3x squared y, and that's in parentheses. And you go back and read it again. There's also a 2x in parentheses. Okay? And there is also a negative 4xy. Now, this is all about combining terms that are alike, okay? And what we're going to start out doing, notice you have this set of parentheses, and you're supposed to multiply it by this set and this set. Well, you can't physically do that and have a bunch of letters in there. So what it wants you to do, your answer is going to look a little goofy, but I'll show you how we kind of start, okay? So we're going to take, first off, what we're going to do is we're going to look for all the numbers, okay? Now, here's our first one, negative 3. So I'm going to circle that. Now, I know this little number 2 is a number, okay? But we're not going to classify that as technically the numbers that we can combine, because that's an exponent, and it's tagged on with our letter x. So that's not really a number just by itself like this negative 3 is. Okay? The other thing we're going to combine with the negative 3 is 2 and the negative 4. Okay? And when you combine just the numbers, you are multiplying, because that's the signs in between there. That's what it says. So what we need to do is we need to multiply. We need to multiply negative 3 times 2. And then also times negative 4, but we'll do that in a second, okay? So negative 3 times 2, well, our answer is for surely 6, but what about that? Remember, if you only have one negative in the math problem, then your answer has to also have a negative, because you need an even amount of negatives for the math problem to be correct. So negative 3 times 2 is actually negative 6. And now we need to combine that with our other number, which I'm going to do the math problem down here. Negative 6. I'll just put in parentheses so you can see that's its own deal. Times negative 4. Okay, and that's going to equal now, well, guess what? We have 2 negatives in the math problem. A negative 6 and a negative 4. So we don't need another negative in our answer. Okay, it's just technically 6 times 4, which is 24. Okay, so 24 is going to be in our answer. We're just not quite finished yet, and we are going to add a few things to that. But that's how we got the number 24. We just looked at the numbers, not the exponents yet, not the exponents, just the numbers in the front. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to write 24 over here, and that's actually going to be start of our answer. Okay, it's not finished yet. Now the next thing we do is we can combine the x's with the x's and the y's with the y's. If we had like a letter V, we could do v's with the v's or anything like that. So we're combining like terms. I started with the numbers just because that's normally how you do start these things. And then you go into the letters, okay? So I always ask this question. I say, how many x's are right here? And I'll get mixed answers. Some people will say 2, some people will say 1. And I'll say, okay, hold on. We're just not maybe quite seeing it properly. And what this means is, yes, I literally see 1x right here. But this 2 as the exponent is implying that there are actually 2. Instead of writing x next to an x like that, the book just writes it as x squared. Okay, it's the same thing. So really now, when you see this x with a little 2, you need to think, hey, I know I only see physically one of them, but there are actually 2 of them here. Okay, so now we're going to count all the x's. And when you have an unknown number, you don't multiply these together like this. You actually add the variables. Okay, that's a little bit strange. So you have 2 of them right here. I'm going to add that to one more. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then I'm going to add that again to one more x. And 3 plus 1 is going to become 4. So my answer is going to get an x to the 4th power. And that's there, as you can see. We're still not done. We got to finish the y's here now too. Okay, so let's count the y's. How many y's do we got? We have 1. No exponent, so only 1. No y's in the middle, so we still only have 1. And then we have a y at the end. Okay, so we actually had 2 y's. So you write y squared, which I know that looks a little goofy, but that is your final answer. If you were to combine all these together, just like we did, you multiply the numbers. That's how we got 24. You add the letters. That's how we got x to the 4th and y squared. Okay, so I hope that one helped there. Let's move on to example 2. We'll try another one here. And like I said, most people look at this multiplying algebraic terms and they see the problems and they get a little bit freaked out. I hope that's not happening. Hopefully this calms you down and it makes more sense here now. Again, write the problem on the board, or write the problem in your notebook. Negative 2ab, that's the start of it. So I'm going to write negative 2ab in parentheses. And then I'm going to write the next one. A squared b. Okay? And then I'm going to write the last one. 3b cubed. Okay, now again, we are combining like terms again. So let's find out the like terms. Maybe you can see this marker a little bit better. I don't know if this is a good one or not. So remember, this number, the negative 2, there's no number in front here, so we don't need to multiply. Remember, this squared, a squared, that's an exponent. I know it's a number technically, but that is an exponent, okay? And then the last number we're going to combine it with is the number in front there, that 3. Okay, so we're going to start our first math problem. And now remember, when you do the numbers, you actually do multiply them. So it's negative 2 times 3. Okay, again, we've talked about this. If you have one negative number in the math problem, then your answer has to be negative as well, because you need an even amount of negatives in the math problem. Okay, so our answer is going to be negative 6. And then that finishes up the numbers. So we combined the numbers there. We multiplied them. I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to start an answer over here. And we know our answer is going to have negative 6 in it. We just got to figure out the rest still. Now, let's combine the A's and the A's and the B's and the B's. We'll do the A's first. So the first one we look at, we have an A. How many A's do we have here? We have 1. How do we know that? Well, there's no other exponents with it. So there's just 1. We go to this one. We have 2 A's here. So 1 plus 2 more is 3 A's, or a to the 3rd power, and no A's in the last one. So I'm going to write that in. A to the 3rd power. And now let's combine all the B's. So we have 1 here. No exponent, no exponent. We have another one. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we got to add 3 more B's to the 2 we already had, which ends up being 5, which ends up being B to the 5th for a final answer right there. So as you can see, our final answer on the board, negative 6, A cubed, and B to the 5th. Again, how did we get the number negative 6? We multiplied the numbers, the like terms, and then we added all the letters together and wrote our answer in the final there. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit. It's not too bad once you kind of get it figured out a little bit. If we have any questions, remember we will be doing Zoom meetings on Wednesday and Thursday. So look forward to see you there, and have a good day.